For decades, Hollywood manufactured perfection. Pristine stars who seemed to exist above ordinary mortals, their smiles dazzling from magazine covers, their voices enchanting through radio waves. But what if I told you that behind those perfect smiles and beneath those tailored suits lurked some of the most revolting personal habits imaginable? What if the gods and goddesses you worshipped from afar actually repulsed the very co-stars forced to work beside them? The truth about old Hollywood's biggest stars will shock you. From breath so foul it made kissing scenes unbearable to body odor that cleared film sets, these are the stomach-turning hygiene secrets that studio publicists worked overtime to hide. Today we're pulling back the curtain on 10 legendary stars whose private lives directly contradicted their carefully crafted public images. The truth has remained hidden for decades, until now. Clark Gable. Let's begin with the man whose very name evokes suave sophistication. Clark Gable, the undisputed king of Hollywood, whose charm made him a leading man for over 3 decades. When Gable smiled at the camera as Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, women across America felt their hearts flutter. But had those same women come within a few feet of their idol, that flutter might have been replaced by a gag reflex. By the time Clark Gable was just 32 years old, he had nearly a full set of dentures, not partial plates, not a few caps. Almost all of his natural teeth had been completely removed. Gable had suffered from severe periodontitis, a gum infection that destroys the soft tissue and bone supporting the teeth. In 1933, as his star was rising, his dentist made the decision to extract almost all of his teeth. He was hospitalized for days afterward and retreated to Canada to recover in privacy. The dentures Gable wore were primitive by today's standards, ill-fitting, uncomfortable, and worst of all, they gave him halitosis so severe that it became legendary throughout Hollywood. His romantic leading ladies, while outwardly thrilled to be cast opposite the biggest star in the world, privately dreaded intimate scenes with him. On the set of It Started in Naples in 1960, his co-star Sophia Loren reportedly kept her distance between takes despite their romantic scenes. The Italian bombshell, known for her own meticulous grooming, was said to have requested that the director limit their close contact when the cameras weren't rolling. Even more shocking, Gable reportedly refused to use mouthwash or breath mints, believing they would affect his acting. One crew member from The Misfits, Gable's final film in 1961, recalled that by that point, the actor's dental issues had worsened to where the smell was noticeable from several feet away. Yet his star power remained so immense that no one dared confront him directly. The king might have ruled Hollywood, but his breath ensured he never got too close to his queens. Joan Crawford. Her fierce ambition and striking features made her one of the most recognizable actresses of her era. Harbored a dental history almost as painful as Gable's. Like many stars seeking to enhance their appearance, Crawford had undergone dental procedures specifically designed to accentuate her cheekbones. Following in the footsteps of Marlene Dietrich, she had several molars removed to create more pronounced hollows in her cheeks. After her teeth were extracted, her front teeth began to spread apart. Dentists filled these gaps with cement, then filed them down to be fitted with caps. The pain must have been excruciating, and worse, it led to severe gum infections. Crawford's entire mouth swelled as a result, leaving her with a permanently enlarged upper lip, a feature that became part of her trademark look, though it stemmed from a painful dental complication. In her late 60s, Crawford required major dental surgery that was so serious she needed round-the-clock medical care afterward. The glamorous image she projected concealed years of painful dental problems that originated from cosmetic procedures gone wrong. What made Crawford's situation even more challenging was her notorious perfectionism in every other aspect of her appearance. While she obsessed over her makeup, clothing, and posture, famously scrubbing her hands until they were raw and insisting that her homes be immaculately clean, her dental hygiene remained problematic throughout her life. Several makeup artists who worked with her noted the contrast between her outward precision and the state of her mouth, which required increasingly elaborate techniques to photograph attractively as she aged. One particularly disturbing rumor that circulated among Hollywood insiders concerned Crawford's breath, which reportedly worsened dramatically when she was drinking heavily, a not infrequent occurrence, especially in her later years. Marilyn Monroe. The ultimate sex symbol whose blonde bombshell image defined an era, harbored hygiene habits that directly contradicted her pristine public image. According to multiple sources, including claims from her The Misfits co-star Clark Gable, Monroe was notoriously lax about personal cleanliness. Despite her glamorous appearance on screen, she reportedly rarely bathed, often went without undergarments, and had little concern for basic hygiene practices. Author David Brett, in his biography of Clark Gable, claimed that the actor was completely uninterested in Monroe romantically despite rumors of an affair. Gable, who was described as having a fetish for cleanliness, found Monroe's casual approach to hygiene repulsive. According to Brett, Monroe often didn't bathe for days and never used deodorant. This juxtaposition between Monroe's carefully crafted image as the ultimate object of desire and the reality of her personal habits highlights the massive disconnect between Hollywood's manufactured perfection and the unpolished reality. Her makeup artist Alan Whitey Snyder, who worked with her for years and became one of her most trusted confidants, developed specialized techniques to create her flawless on-screen appearance. Despite what colleagues described as her irregular bathing schedule, Snyder reportedly kept a supply of baby wipes and extra-strength powder in his kit specifically for Monroe, using them to freshen her between takes during long shooting days. Even more shocking were the accounts from the wardrobe department staff who worked on her films. Multiple costumers reported that Monroe's clothing often required immediate cleaning after use, not just from makeup and perspiration, but from basic body odor that permeated the fabric. The contrast between the goddess America saw on screen and the woman who showed up to set could not have been more stark. Marlon Brando. His performances in A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront revolutionized screen acting, became nearly as famous for his body odor as for his talent. As Brando aged and his weight fluctuated dramatically, his casual attitude toward cleanliness reportedly intensified. Multiple co-stars complained about his refusal to bathe regularly or use deodorant during productions. What makes Brando's case particularly interesting is that his poor hygiene appeared to be at least partially intentional, a rejection of Hollywood conventions and a physical manifestation of his rebellious approach to the industry. From early in his career, Brando demonstrated little interest in the traditional trappings of stardom, including the expectation that actors would maintain an immaculate personal appearance. Even during the filming of A Streetcar Named Desire in 1951, the movie that made him an international sex symbol, Brando reportedly had to be asked repeatedly by director Elia Kazan to bathe more frequently. His co-star Vivien Leigh, who played Blanche to his Stanley, was reportedly disturbed by his body odor during their scenes together, particularly given the physical nature of their interactions in the film. The famous scene where Stanley screams Stella while wearing a sweat-soaked t-shirt wasn't entirely acting. Brando's natural state on hot days was notably pungent. By the time he filmed Apocalypse Now in the late 1970s, Brando's hygiene had deteriorated along with his weight and mental state. Director Francis Ford Coppola and the crew had to contend not just with his creative demands, but also with the practical challenge of shooting scenes with an actor whose personal odor was described as overpowering. The man who had once been considered among the most attractive actors in Hollywood had transformed into someone whose approach to personal cleanliness reflected a broader disregard for Hollywood's expectations. James Dean. His brief career created an enduring legacy of youth rebellion. Reportedly used his lack of hygiene almost as a statement against Hollywood conventionality. Dean's approach to bathing was sporadic at best, and he was known to wear the same clothes for days or even weeks without washing them. During the filming of Rebel Without a Cause, director Nicholas Ray allegedly had to pull Dean aside multiple times to discuss complaints from crew members about his body odor. Dean's co-star Natalie Wood reportedly found working with him challenging due to his hygiene issues, particularly during their romantic scenes. Like the actresses who endured Clark Gable's breath decades earlier, Wood maintained her professionalism, but crew members noted her visible discomfort during close scenes with the malodorous star. Dean's hygiene issues appeared to stem from a combination of factors beyond simple rebellion. Friends from his early days in New York recalled his cramped apartment that lacked reliable hot water, making regular bathing a challenge. When he arrived in Hollywood, despite his increasing fame and improved living conditions, these habits persisted, suggesting they had become ingrained. Director Elia Kazan, who gave Dean his breakthrough role in East of Eden in 1955, noted in his autobiography that Dean seemed to cultivate a certain earthy quality that extended to his personal habits. Kazan, who had worked with Brando and was perhaps accustomed to actors who rejected Hollywood's polished norms, nevertheless found himself needing to address Dean's hygiene during filming, particularly on days when they were shooting in confined spaces. Co-star Julie Harris recalled that Dean would sometimes wear the same red socks for weeks on end, considering them a lucky charm. Similarly, he had a leather jacket he rarely had cleaned, believing that its accumulated grime and wear added to its authenticity. These superstitions about clothing extended to a general resistance to regular bathing that became part of his overall persona. Judy Garland. Her struggles with studio pressure, substance abuse, and mental health issues have been well documented, but less discussed is how these challenges affected her personal hygiene. Throughout her career, Garland went through periods where basic self-care, including regular bathing and dental hygiene, became difficult to maintain as she battled depression, addiction, and the grueling demands of her career. From her early days at MGM, where she was placed on a regimen of diet pills, amphetamines to keep her working, and barbiturates to help her sleep, Garland's ability to maintain consistent personal care was compromised by chemical dependencies that were actually facilitated by the studio system. Makeup artists who worked with her during the filming of The Wizard of Oz in 1939 noted that despite her youth, she was only 16 during production. Her skin already showed signs of the toll these substances were taking. As her addiction issues worsened in the 1940s, Garland's personal appearance became increasingly difficult to manage for the MGM staff assigned to maintain her star image. Her weight fluctuated dramatically. She often appeared on set exhausted and disheveled, and her dental health began to deteriorate from a combination of neglect and the side effects of her medications. What makes Garland's case particularly poignant is that her hygiene issues were clearly tied to her mental health struggles rather than a deliberate choice or simple negligence. During her final film, I Could Go On Singing in 1963, co-star Dirk Bogarde reported that Garland's condition varied dramatically from day to day. When she was well, she was charming, professional, and well-presented. On her bad days, however, her appearance and hygiene reflected her internal turmoil, and crew members would have to work quickly to prepare her for the camera while minimizing her distress. Bogarde later expressed extraordinary sympathy for her situation, understanding that her inconsistent self-care was a symptom of much deeper problems. Elvis Presley. His transition from music to movies made him one of the biggest stars of the 1960s, brought his own hygiene challenges to Hollywood. While Presley was known to be fastidious about certain aspects of his appearance, his hair was famously well maintained. His dental hygiene deteriorated significantly as his prescription drug use increased. By the mid-1960s, Elvis's teeth had become visibly discolored and his breath notoriously bad. Actress Marianne Mobley, who co-starred with Elvis in Girl Happy in 1965, later revealed that kissing him on screen was far less romantic than fans might have imagined, primarily due to his breath. The contradiction in Elvis's hygiene habits was particularly striking. While he might spend hours perfecting his hair with an elaborate combination of products, including black hair dye and various waxes and pomades, his dental care was haphazard at best. As his prescription drug use increased, particularly his reliance on various pain medications and tranquilizers, he often forgot basic dental hygiene or was simply too impaired to maintain consistent brushing habits. By the time he filmed Paradise, Hawaiian Style in 1966, Elvis's breath had reportedly become such an issue that co-star Susanna Leigh developed techniques to minimize actual contact during their kissing scenes, creating the illusion of romantic contact for the camera while breathing through her mouth to avoid the full impact. The irony of one of the world's most desired men having breath that repelled his romantic co-stars was not lost on the film crew, but Elvis's star power ensured that no one addressed the issue directly with him. By the 1970s, during his Las Vegas performances, makeup artists struggled to present an Elvis who resembled his former self, contending not just with his weight gain, but also with basic hygiene issues stemming from his pharmaceutical dependencies. Perhaps most tragically, as Elvis's health deteriorated in his final years, his hygiene became another casualty of his overall decline. Elizabeth Taylor. Her violet eyes and stunning beauty made her one of Hollywood's most glamorous stars, maintained an immaculate public image throughout her long career. But during periods of personal turmoil, particularly during her volatile relationship with Richard Burton, her private hygiene habits reportedly fell far short of her polished public appearance. During the filming of Cleopatra in 1963, one of the most expensive productions in Hollywood history, the Italian crew reportedly found American standards of hygiene lacking overall. One makeup artist who worked with Taylor throughout the 1960s noted that her bathing habits seemed directly tied to her emotional state. When Taylor was happy and stable, particularly at the beginning of relationships, she maintained meticulous personal care. During periods of relationship turmoil or depression, however, she might go days without properly bathing, relying instead on heavy perfume and powder to mask body odor. Joseph L. Mankiewicz, who directed Taylor in Cleopatra and Suddenly Last Summer in 1959, reportedly developed a diplomatic system for addressing hygiene issues with his leading lady. Rather than confronting her directly, he would arrange for a female assistant to mention casually that a hot bath had been prepared in Taylor's trailer for her comfort during a break, an offer that allowed Taylor to address any issues without embarrassment. Taylor's fluctuating attention to personal care was apparently tied directly to her emotional state. During the height of her romance with Burton, she was reportedly immaculate. During their separations and fights, which were legendary in their intensity, her hygiene would slip proportionally. The woman who represented the pinnacle of Hollywood glamour was in reality as human and flawed as anyone else, her personal habits rising and falling with her emotional tides. Charlie Chaplin. His little tramp character became one of the most iconic figures in cinema history, created a screen persona that actually incorporated poor hygiene into its appeal. The tramp's shabby clothes and disheveled appearance were central to the character's charm. But according to numerous accounts, Chaplin's own hygiene habits sometimes blurred the line between his on-screen character and his real life. Lita Grey, Chaplin's second wife, whom he married when she was just 16 and he was 35, later claimed in divorce papers that his personal hygiene was consistently poor throughout their marriage. While some of her claims may have been exaggerated as part of a contentious divorce, others who worked closely with Chaplin confirmed that his bathing habits could be irregular, particularly when he was deeply involved in a project. During intense work periods, Chaplin would reportedly become so absorbed in his creative process that basic self-care, including regular bathing, fell by the wayside. He would wear the same clothes for days, sleep in his studio, and emerge only when absolutely necessary, often looking and smelling as disheveled as his famous character. What's fascinating about Chaplin is that by the time he reached his level of success and creative control, studio executives had no leverage to address his hygiene or appearance. Chaplin was the rare talent who was truly irreplaceable, running his own studio and financing his own films. If he chose to work in unwashed clothes for a week straight, there was no one who could tell him otherwise. Despite these issues, Chaplin could transform himself into a polished public figure when needed. At premieres and public appearances, he presented an immaculate appearance that contrasted sharply with both his screen persona and his reported habits during intense work periods. The man who created cinema's most beloved tramp occasionally shared more with his character than just a distinctive walk and mustache. Humphrey Bogart. His tough guy image and distinctive voice made him a defining figure in film noir, projected an image of rugged masculinity that millions of fans admired. But co-stars who worked closely with Bogart, particularly in romantic scenes, encountered a challenge not visible to audiences: his notoriously bad breath, caused by a combination of heavy smoking, drinking, and dental issues. Bogart's smoking habit was legendary. He was rarely seen on set or in public without a cigarette dangling from his lips. He reportedly smoked up to 3 packs of cigarettes daily throughout his adult life, a habit that not only contributed to the lung cancer that eventually killed him in 1957, but also had a devastating effect on his oral hygiene. Combined with his regular consumption of whiskey and minimal attention to dental care, the result was breath that made intimate scenes particularly challenging for his leading ladies. Lauren Bacall, who became Bogart's 4th wife after meeting him on the set of To Have and Have Not in 1944, was reportedly one of the few women who didn't recoil from his breath. Their famous chemistry, captured in lines like, "You know how to whistle, don't you? You just put your lips together and blow," was authentic, despite the oral hygiene issues that might have deterred a less smitten co-star. Their genuine attraction apparently overcame what other actresses considered a significant obstacle. Ingrid Bergman, who starred opposite Bogart in the classic Casablanca in 1942, was reportedly less enamored, though she was a consummate professional who never complained publicly. She allegedly asked director Michael Curtiz to minimize the number of close-ups that required her to stand directly in the path of Bogart's exhalations. By the time Bogart filmed The African Queen in 1951 with Katharine Hepburn, his dental problems had reportedly worsened. The difficult shooting conditions in Africa, combined with both stars' heavy smoking, created what Hepburn later diplomatically described as aromatic challenges on set. What's particularly interesting about Bogart's case is that unlike some stars who were unaware of or indifferent to their hygiene issues, he reportedly recognized the problem but considered it an inevitable consequence of his lifestyle, one that he had no intention of changing. And there you have it, the stomach-turning truth behind some of old Hollywood's most beloved stars. These weren't just minor lapses in personal care. These were chronic, career-long hygiene issues that studio publicists worked overtime to hide from an adoring public. The contrast between the pristine images projected on screen and the reality behind the scenes could not have been more stark. What these stories reveal is that Hollywood's golden age was built as much on illusion and careful image management as it was on talent. The stars we idolized weren't the gods and goddesses they appeared to be. They were human, flawed, and in some cases genuinely revolting in their personal habits. Yet their star power was so immense, their box office draw so reliable that studios and co-stars alike simply had to endure. If you found these revelations as fascinating as they are shocking, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more hidden histories of Hollywood's biggest stars. Drop a comment below telling us which hygiene horror shocked you the most. Was it Clark Gable's legendary halitosis, Marilyn Monroe's aversion to bathing, or perhaps Marlon Brando's intentional rejection of basic cleanliness? Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the truth doesn't just stink, it absolutely reeks.